Hi everybody, this is Cale Clarke with thefaithexplained.com, the Faith Explained Institute. We are here in Caesarea Philippi in the northern part of Israel, and this is a very, very famous site in the ministry of Jesus and in the life of Peter especially, because it is here in Matthew chapter 16 where Jesus declared Peter to be the rock. Now this was Gentile territory in Jesus' day. Lots of pagan deities were worshipped in this area. Specifically, the pagan shepherd god Pan. Pan was kind of a hybrid, half man, half goat god, and his image was placed in a niche, as you can see, back there in the rock formation. And that's kind of interesting. Just keep that in mind, file that away. A false shepherd god was worshipped here. Interesting. The other thing is that you see this big gaping cave mouth behind me, and the ancient pagans believed there's a stream here which they associated with the river Styx. They actually believed that this stream and this gaping hole in the rock formation here was literally the gateway to the underworld, literally the gates of Hades, the gates of hell, if you will. And so Jesus didn't come very often into Gentile territory during his ministry. So he did this on purpose. He wanted to make a point. Jesus was a master teacher, and any master teacher uses illustrations to make his point. Well, this is a pretty big one, this gigantic rock formation here. And it is here in Caesarea Philippi where Jesus says to Peter, well, first of all, Peter correctly defines, who Jesus is. He says, who do people say that I am? And Peter correctly says, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And then Jesus turns around and he identifies Peter. He gives Peter a new identity. Remember, he changed his name. His name was Simon, Simon Bar Jonah, which means Simon, son of Jonah. And he says, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church. And of course, the name Peter, Petros in Greek, but in Aramaic, Kepha means rock. And Jesus, of course, was using this object lesson. In case you didn't get the point, check out this big rock. He says, you are a rock, and on this rock I will build my church. And the gates of the netherworld, the gates of Hades, the gates of hell, will not overcome it. Literally, this rock is over the gates of hell, keeping it at bay. And that's what's happening with the church as well, okay? The gates of hell will never overcome the church. It's very interesting. In the Bible, someone's name is incredibly important. Your name implies your identity and your mission. Think about Abraham in the Old Testament. His name used to be Abram, which means father. And God changed his name to Abraham, which means a father of many nations or a father of a multitude. And so it's the same with Peter. Simon, the name Simon means reed, Think about a reed. It's very shaky. The wind can blow it in any direction. Sometimes, Peter was like that in his life, right? In Luke's gospel, Jesus says, Simon, Simon, Satan has demanded to sift you like wheat, but I have prayed that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. And here he changes his name to Peter. You're not going to be that shifting, unstable faith kind of guy from this point on. You are going to be the rock, and your faith and your faithfulness is going to be the foundation. You're going to be the first pope, and the church will be literally built upon this truth. And of course, ultimately, it's Peter sharing in Christ's own rockiness, right? Christ is, of course, the rock. And all of us Christians, when we are baptized, we share in this stability of Christ. Are we that stable rock for our friends, for our neighbors, for our colleagues, our family members? And that's what we have to do as well. Our faith has to be strengthened like Peter's was on this occasion.